Are you challenging me?
Alright, fuck it, it's Adam at Cancelling Culture here. I'm here with Aiden. Today we are going to be looking at the 2002 classic Scooby-Doo. Now, Aiden, how did you feel watching this film? Obviously, we grew up with this film, we were around there at the right time, and we had a kind of preconceived conceptions about this movie. How do you remember this film?
So when I was younger, I remember this film being like, well, it's like the perfect Scooby-Doo film, because I remember it's like you don't have any like setup. Like it's not like you're watching their first case.
No, you're
and,
just
like,
sort of
you're being
into
introduced to the characters.
Yeah, you're just thrown into the world. And
You're thrown into the mix.
I think they captured the aesthetic of the 60s cartoon really well, with the basic coloured costumes and things like that.
Literally, and things were like very primary in the colour.
Yeah, I like it.
Also, as a kid, I don't remember actually like acknowledging CGI being a thing.
No.
So the monsters of it were like really real.
The monsters
to me.
felt real. I mean, there was so much stuff that you watch back now and you're like, oh mate, that looks shit. Because that does not hold up.
But as a kid, you don't acknowledge that.
No, I remember the monsters in this, the weird little soul creatures or whatever, being really good.
Really, especially when they pluck the souls out of the thing.
I remember the heads
that being
really
like
good.
wisps, like in a fucking like in a new Dark Souls game.
But it is not good. No, it's really not good.
It's really like kind of it's got that plasticky kind of feel to the white textures of it.
It really does, and nothing quite blends in. Although what is good, Scooby-Doo.
Oh yeah,
Scooby-Doo.
Apart from his eyes,
Scooby-Doo holds up pretty well.
He holds up pretty well.
His eyes, but eyes are always the hardest part. You look at anything, it's always eyes.
That's just down to the general drawing, my opinion. But the animation of like his movements, they were pretty fucking clean.
Oh yeah, like when he's on the quad bike, you don't even think about it.
Oh yeah, especially the quad bike. Man.
Aiden, maybe we should just go through the plot just as a starter. So, what happened in this film? What is the story?
The team split up.
Yeah.
Right, and then when they
break up after a successful mission.
Oh man, Smithers, the creepy janitor.
After a successful mission, they realize what each of them truly wants, and it's not being satisfied by the rest of the gang because they're all after what each of their own want. Like other than Shaggy and Scooby, which everyone loves throughout the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, no, they're great. Those two characters are the best characters. It kind of leans into the plot, but
literally. But yeah, so they split up, and they've been on their own for like I'm guessing like 2 years.
Yeah, it says 2 years later.
Does it say 2 years later?
It says 2 years later.
See, that's what I'm saying. 2 years later, they're all on their own things, and they all get invited back to an island by a guy who's being played by Rowan Atkinson called Spooky Island.
Oh, sorry, it's a new toy. I'm just sorry.
Now, Rowan Atkinson's character, he basically explains that a lot of the hotel guests, that like it's like a spring break location, like it's like a theme park on an island. It's not like Epstein's Island, but it's like Paradise Island.
It's like you go there on like an Iron Apple sort of trip, and then he's explaining that there's some sort of curse or some spell that's been on the island where people go there as these college kids who are spring breakers, ready to fucking party, fucking get your tits out kind of shit. They're departing and they're straightened up. They're clean cut. See, when they're in the party, they're all like saying, "Oh yeah, cool. That's cool, my guy." The brainwashing video had like parts where they were saying like they tried to be hip with the kids, and that's why I think they've got the slang in them when they depart. But the slang is like really weird because they're trying to have a clean cut, like formative personality. They're trying to be formal, but they're saying these words like "word." Yeah, what's up, my G? Like when Fred is even in it, he's like, he's talking about a one-night stand, and he's like, yo, what you saying, dog?
Look what happened last night.
Man, we got beats like it was the listeners on Earth.
You brought up a great point there when like Fred kind of mentions that he's just fucked a girl, and there's a few things that obviously we wouldn't have picked up when we were a child. Yeah. And there are a few adult jokes that, you know, we definitely picked up this time, and Fred is a funny character. I think Fred is one of the funniest characters in the film.
I fucking love Fred.
I can look at myself naked.
Oh, brother. Or about our swimsuit models.
No! Look, I'm a man of substance. Dorky chicks like you turn me on too.
He's the least explored character in the film.
Like Freddie Prinze Jr. is great. I mean, they do play him off like a bit of a bimbo and a bit like Ken. And after seeing Barbie last night, I can only draw correlations.
got to be kidding. No one is stupid enough to believe that.
Who's the ugly old brother?
They play him off as narcissistic, but with like a hidden underlayer of insecurity. Like, he's still got something to prove, but he's the leader, but he's not so sure if he is a leader.
But he isn't sure if he's a leader.
Do you know what I mean?
He wants to be a team player.
And like Freddy, I think he encapsulated that perfectly, which is weird, because if you look at the interviews, like, he didn't try to encapsulate that.
It's just dark and dark.
Offered so much more than every other cartoon. It was so ahead of its time. It had a story. They worked hard to figure it out, and it wasn't gender specific. It wasn't a boys cartoon or a girls cartoon or any of those things.
It was a talking dog, you know.
Like, he didn't think there was much substance to the film. He he knew it was going to blow up.
We were saying this as we were watching it. It's got way more substance than we remember. Like,
oh, definitely.
So Daphne decides, because they're all doing it on their own, she goes to this voodoo guy on the beach because he probably knows something, and he tells her not to go to this spooky castle that was part of the amusement park. That's a bit closed off now or whatever, and she goes there and teams up with Shaggy and Scooby. Even though she wanted to do it by herself, she still wanted them to help her out. And then they go in, and now this whole scene is a bit confusing, because we were talking about this.
I'm a bit confused about the voodoo guy like being there in general. I think he was just there to get the diversity rate up.
He's the only guy on the island who isn't part of the He's just he just lives there hunting out wild animals.
Yeah, but I just don't understand his role in the movie. I don't understand it, because he comes back after, like, he gives, like, he's meant to give Daphne intel, but he gives her no intel.
He literally points Daphne to the castle and says, "Don't go there,"
which is
but that's
clearly there.
That's all he does.
Like, and everyone else went to the castle without that guy.
He does feel like a bit of a... Like, he should have gone along.
What are you doing? Now I have to start the voodoo ritual all over again.
Voodoo ritual?
Yes, voodoo ritual. I was about to sacrifice this chicken.
But that chicken's not alive.
I know that chicken is not alive, smart little girl. What, you figured it out when you saw it didn't have a head?
No.
Now, what are you doing here? What do you want? Why are you all up in voodoo ritual space?
Bro, like, he could have been a really cool character, but he was just there to get the diversity ratio up.
Yeah. No, I think he was, because he had no part.
He had no purpose.
Okay. Well, when they go to the castle, this whole scene is a little confusing, because basically it's full of animatronics and they split up in the classic Scooby-Doo fashion. And
the weird part about it is, sorry, do you want to carry on?
No, it's the animatronics.
Is that what you think is weird?
I think
I've got a whole
food.
different angle.
It's the food and stuff.
Does that still creep you out? Is that what
it kind of creeps me out?
Your biggest fear, like, your own food coming back and making you the prey.
Making me the prey. I don't want my sausages strangling me. You know, I'm not having that. Because I don't know if we've mentioned this, but this was written by James Gunn, who's obviously done Guardians of the Galaxy and Suicide Squad and Slithers, and there's this dwarf, right? I don't remember the dwarf.
Bro, what happened to the dwarf?
Well, I think the dwarf got killed.
No one in the movie gets killed because
there's a creature coming out of the wall. That can't be.
That looked weird. That looked like Alien out of the stomach.
Alien. It's like coming out.
You know, in the first Alien, and then fucking Daphne's. She's in that weird pyramid thing. That's the only part I can't explain.
Yeah, she gets.
But before that, they're in a ride.
I think that's part of the caves, because Scooby-Doo, before he gets sacrificed at the end, or about to get
he's
sacrificed,
put in that part.
He's put in that part with
but
the
how
girls
did Daphne
fanning
get
him.
down there? Because she was in the castle. Did she get on a wall that spins or something?
So anyway, they find out on the island that the whole place is being brainwashed, you know, using this hidden studio within the old ride at the top of the hill. And
this is where it's really confusing, because it never gets brought up again.
Yeah, it doesn't really get brought up. Like, the amount of effort they've gone through, and the studio and everything, and you don't see any of the brain control process.
I've just figured it out.
What?
That's not a brainwashing fucking thing. It's a lesson for the monsters that take over the bodies.
Oh my god.
Bro!
Oh my god.
Even they didn't figure it out in the movie.
Dude, that's a really fucking great point.
Isn't it, bro?
Fucking hell, yeah. So, oh man, so yeah.
And that's why afterwards they're doing all the slang.
Yo, the biatch was like, what? And I was like, later on, Fred. What up, dog? And, dog? Keeping it real.
Look at what happened last night.
Man, we got beats like it was the Lizness on earth. You know what I'm saying, G?
No.
And they're doing all the same.
Because they're the monsters and they've learned from that video.